let me make sure that looks good. I look all right. Yeah, I should probably twist that a little bit. No, maybe too much. Maybe I just need to move over. No, now I look really tall.
I can see you on the stream.
Let's go, everyone. I got my camera set up. We're ready to go. Hello. How are you all doing? And welcome back to another episode of the LA Poker Roundup. It is August 5th, 2025, and this is episode 92. As always, I am your host, Ty Dobberton, along with my co-host, Derek Kwan. Gotta get this angle.
What's up, everyone?
All right. So we are deep in the heart of the Legends of Poker at the bike, and we have another set of big results for you this week. And Frank and Derek and I spent the entire weekend down there at the bike, playing our hearts out, getting the results, catching up on all the latest, juiciest happenings. So we'll get you caught up in case you weren't able to be down there. What up, Frank and Jeremy in the chat? And Jeremy was bouncing around between Commerce and the bike because Commerce is still popping, and I would expect it to be so also this weekend. So we will get to that later, though, when it's roundup time. Let's just jump right into the results, shall we? All right. So last week, we had mixed game events going on the entire week. We had mixed game events going on alongside the day one flights for the 50-50. So on Wednesday, we had the Beast tournament, $500 entry Beast. That ended in it had 37 entries, and it looks like there was no chop. They played it all the way out. So congratulations to Michael Casella for taking that down for a little over $6,000. Congratulations to the rest of the cashers / smile table here. Aaron Gold for second place, Nick Polidoros for third, Gary Dushman for fourth, and David Liu for fifth. Congrats.
Nice work.
All right, moving on to the next mixed game event that week was the Limit Triple Draw. So that was Deuce to 7 and Ace to 5 and Badoogie, and that drew 32 entries. So it looks like this one ended in a heads-up chop, and it looks like they paid some bubbles. They actually... Oh, I see. They paid some bubbles, and they also had a little promo going on where if you make a nut Badoogie in the first two levels, they would pay you, you basically refund you your buy, and you get $500. There was a little bit of controversy, a little bit of back and forth about where that money came from. It appeared at first that it was out of some extra side pool, and then it appeared as though it came out of the prize pool, and then I think at the end of the day, I think the last posts that I saw were that it actually was going to come from the tournament organizers and not the prize pool, but I did not read that tweet. Jeremy can chime in the chats if that's how we finished up on that or not. But congratulations to Danny Yan and Ian Douglas Chan for chopping it up heads up. Looks like Danny got a little over 5,000 for that first place. Third place, Kwok Lee, and fourth place, Adam Kipnis. And then looks like Bubble was Albert Shim. Congrats there. And then the two who got the Badoogies were Duke Viveros and Kwok Lee. So Kwok actually got an extra 500 over what it looks like he got there. Nice.
Nice work, everyone. Everyone wants to hear about mixed game solvers. Make sure you check out Ian Chan's episode on 10-Minute Poker Tips.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. That's a really fun project. Put together a solver. Now, definitely head on over there and see if Ian will share that with you. All right, I think this is the last mixed game event that happened last week. This was on Friday. This was Heroes, just horse in a different order, horse of a different color, if you will. So this one had 51 entries, and this ended in a three-way chop. So a three-way chop among Lori Broda, very own Hambone, Jeremy Hamey, and Gina Hecht. And so congrats to those three for chopping it up, and it was pretty even. Looks like Lori got about 5,500, Jeremy 5,500. Jeremy got 5,000, and Gina got 4,500. So congrats to the three choppers. The rest of the final table here. Fourth place, David Brookshire. Oh man, it's been like 4-5 mixed game events. I hadn't read his name. Glad to see he's doing okay. Seems like he won every single event at the Commerce. Fifth place, Andrew Lavender. Sixth place, Font Polavith. Yeah, seventh place, Kwok Lee, and eighth place, Sean Yu. So Q must have bagged early or something because he was firing all these mixed events, playing them all, cashing them all. Way to go. Congrats to everybody there. All right. So the other big event that happened this weekend was the 50-50. I'm going to come back to this one because this actually happened later, technically. So the 50-50 happening all week. Day 2 was actually Monday in a little experiment, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But here was your final table. Your final table was, after 2.5 days of play, came down to Ilya Shipner, Dylan Nguyen, Zihao Kao, Derek Gregory, who we were just talking about from his final table appearance, second place at the Venetian with pads. Not fifth, but seat 5 here, Hui Win. Also the final table, Daniel Preciado, Hugh Lee, Kleinbach, and Oganez McKirchichin, who Derek
good job.
may have some stories. Yeah, maybe the vowels actually throw me off. I'm all right with Y's. I got a Y in my name.
That is a lot of consonants altogether in one.
Right? All right. So that just wrapped up just a little before the show. So we were able to get the results. So congratulations. This ended in a 3-way chop. Massive prize pool, massive chop, big payday. So congratulations to Oganez. He took home the top prize in the chop and the trophy for taking home about almost 93,000. Original payout, I believe, was around 120 something, so not bad. You'll also be getting the Mega Million seat. All 3 of them will be getting Mega Million seats, which do come out of the prize pool, which is okay, whatever. Second place in the chop, Dylan Nguyen. He got 92,000 as well. And then third place, Daniel Preciado had 71,000. So it looks like the top 2 were pretty close in chips, with Daniel not too far behind. The rest of the table fell out like this. Fourth place was Kleinbach, getting about 40,000. Fifth place was Zihao Kao, getting 28,000. Sixth place was Derek Gregory. Seventh place, Ilya Shipner. Eighth place, Hui Nguyen. And ninth place, Hugh Lee. So, and as Frank, now a former Commerce Poker Pro himself, notes, Hugh was a former Commerce Poker Pro in that first class. So congrats to everyone in the final table. Lots of other, obviously, notable finishers since this is LA, but we got Frank, our number 1 field reporter, cashed 70th in that. Dean Myers got 45th, adding to his lifetime total, which is astronomical. Peter Cross, 40th. Anthony Patessa, 38th, and I'm sorry, I mixed up Alan Myers with Dean Myers. So Dean, congrats, Dean, but you don't have as many cash as Alan, I bet. Anthony Patessa, 38. James DeCoco, 37th. James Poo, 36. John Missirian, 35th. Tony Denove, 33rd. Paul Lee, 31st. James Gray, 29th. And Derek Kwan, 28th. And Sofia Umarova, 17th. So congrats to all of you. Nice deep run, Derek. Way to go. Now,
thank you.
That probably got you a lot of points for Player of the Year. Nice, deep 28th place run. But
really,
yeah, 28th place out of like over 1,000. But I'm willing to bet my second place in the daily event later on that day got me more. So just saying. I think I got some points on you this time. So yeah, I played the other one too. I busted pretty early. I think I was in like maybe I made the first pay jump. I don't know. I blasted through like 30 people. And then I hopped right into the one-day event, the $360 Super Stack. And I got to the final table and got second. So check it out. This final table was pretty fun. It was fast flying action from the last 20 people down. It was pretty wild. It was like a war zone. Like gotta be dodging things, or things are blowing up all over the place, and they're big pots, exciting pots. So ended up with Mr. Nick Quarishi taking home first place. He beat me in our heads up, which, to be fair, wasn't really much of a heads up. He had a 6 or 7 to 1 chip lead going into the heads up play. I got second. Third place was James Zulaika Jr. Fourth place was Akiba Latasha Webb. I believe she says she goes by the Poker Diva. Fifth place, nice. Mr. Rocky Hayden. And sixth place, Aaron Malkin. Seventh place, James Lee. Eighth place, Mr. Unstoppable himself, Michael Ung. And ninth place, Brandon Gutierrez.
What a final table, huh?
I know, it was super fun. Really, really fun. Except for the not winning the trophy when you get that close. Other notable cashers here.
I do remember somebody in the group chat complaining about having to play, didn't want to go home, and since you're here, you're going to play.
Yeah.
Look, just took it all the way to second place.
I feel like this, when I do make a deep run in the one day, it's like always on a day where tomorrow is work. There's never the Saturday one day. It's never the Friday one. It's always the one where I have to work in the morning. But you know what?
Yeah.
Nick and I play really fast. Didn't go that late. We were done at like 12:30 or something. So, um, other notable cashes: Angela Defoe getting 36. She's been having a pretty good summer, I think, for her first year
Yeah.
in tournament poker. Quite great. Vanek Azizian got 35th. Troy Gabaldon got 17th. Andrew Tree got 16th. Nair Cohen 15th. Nam Kim 12th. And Edison Tapiz 11th. And there were other notable names in here, but I didn't track the places. So really fun, really fun. Really good structure for a one day, honestly, as well. I mean, like we had that 2,500 5K level. For a couple seconds, the average big blinds were kind of low, but then like 2 or 3 people get knocked out, and all of a sudden it would shoot up well over 20 big blinds again. So it was definitely a fun time. And this picture, not true. Don't believe Nick. This is a lie. He won with sevens, not aces. I was there. I lost to him.
I think you don't like the. Yeah, that's not
Yep.
always for the winning hand. I think I grabbed 2 random hands, and that time I finished at like 4 in the morning because I was so
Yeah,
tired, and it
whatever.
ended up being like some stupid thing like 8 deuce.
I don't
And
know.
everyone's like, "You won with 8 deuce?"
If you don't chop and you actually win, I don't see the point in picking the different cards. Come on, don't you? You're gonna have a bunch of winning pictures. Don't you want it to be unique? Come on. Thanks,
Yeah.
Poppin' Buckets. Yeah, it was nice. It was nice to get a nice score there at the end of the day. All right, so those are all the results we have. As I said before, I haven't really been, keep my eye on Twitter. I haven't been seeing a lot of other results getting posted up from around town. So come on, TDs around town, help us out. Post your results, do something, convince your folks, or we're gonna have to get the number 2 field reporter on the job because Frank's over here at the bike. I know Jeremy's been going to the Commerce. He might just have to start pumping people for information to give us some info because those events have been big still. Those events have still been doubling and almost tripling their guarantees. And like I said, I think this weekend is going to be the same. All right. So let's talk about our weekends a little bit. Why don't we start with our experience playing in the 50-50, and then when we get to Monday, there are a lot of kind of little stories that popped up that we can bring up, and a couple interesting topics, I thought. But let's start with our 50-50. I'll go first because mine was the shortest. I had the shortest 50-50 story of the two of us. So I hated that it was on a Monday. I did not like those on a Monday at all. And this goes the same thing last Sunday. So last Sunday, I was there. I was playing something else. I think I was playing the one day, busted that thing in some terrible, brutal fashion. I'm like, I'm here, whatever. I'm just going to fire one. It's still early. I'm going to fire one bullet into the 50-50 right now and then just go home. And I bag it. And I not only bag it very small. We finished at the 10-15K level. I had 125K. We talked about it last show. Wasn't super happy. Had to play some more, try and get a bigger stack. Turns out 125K wasn't that bad. I believe it was the Monday flight, is what people were saying. Actually finished at the 3,000, 6,000 level, which is insane.
It's insane. It's really insane.
We finished at the 10,000, 15,000. A lot of flights finished at like 10,000, 20,000, and a flight ended at 3.6. And your average stack for that day was over 400K. So we're talking an average stack like 60 something, 70 big blinds is your average stack, and it had ended. Like, holy cow. But that was good. I mean, that was good for me. Let me hang around. So it didn't really help card-wise, but made it so that I wasn't so desperate. I should have taken that as a sign to just stop going because, man, I fired 5 more bullets and did not cash one time. It was like every single I was getting into the most ridiculous flipping situations you should never be in and losing them, or I was like getting just destroyed by 2-outers and like random running crap. It wasn't fun. But I tell you what, people were still wanting to gamble in this 500, which was weird because another thing we'll talk about is I felt like the entries, the numbers were not really what they wanted. They weren't really exciting numbers entry-wise. So I took my little bag into day 2, sat there, folded a while, raised ace, queen suited, folded. Then I ran 8s into kings, and I was out. So that's it for my 50-50. Oh, Derek's 50-50 was a little smoother in the beginning, I think. A little smoother for probably up until, I don't know, dinner time on Monday, huh?
The end. The 6K rollback was really surprising. I had no idea that it was that any flight ended that early. And I think we finished, I almost want to say we finished at the 25K. It was like really late when we finished. And I was like, well, we're gonna come back to like, kind of shallowish stacks. And then when I saw it was 3K, 6K, I thought it was like a misprint. I was like, I'm coming back with 100 big blinds, and I'm like not even in the top 40 or 50, like,
Yeah.
on the list. It's crazy.
Yeah. The structure for
But
this
yeah,
tournament was phenomenal, especially given that. But
it was
even not, even
unbelievable.
without that, it was phenomenal. Great value if
I'm
you love
shocked that
poker.
we actually made it to the final table in one day. That's crazy.
No,
Like
it
we
was 18 people came back today.
Oh, we came back to 18. Okay, so
Yeah.
even then, yeah, I think that's fair. But still, it still feels like I didn't think we would, with that structure, make it to 27.
Hmm.
It was pretty nuts. Um, I actually got through on one bullet, which is like really surprising, really awesome. I ran really badly for most of that flight, and I just sort of hung on, and then I kind of, got some cards towards the end, was able to chip up, all the way up to 560, which is really healthy stack, and just sort of kind of sat on it. Made it day two. Day two went like my starting table was insane because there was like three stacks in the top like 15. I had Jared Griner, I had Peter Cross. Really, really nutty table. But I was able to catch a punt or
Yeah.
two. Maybe I bluffed off a couple of spots where I shouldn't have. But I did pretty okay at the first table. Went to the second table, did really, really well. I think I ran really well for about like maybe like 2 hours or so. I think I peaked at around like 4.5 million in chips. And then, as you mentioned, I had played a pretty interesting hand with the chip leader. He wasn't like a nit, but he was playing kind of tight, but his three bet
This guy.
percentage very low, very, very low. Yeah, that guy. So I raised with ace king suited, and I had like probably a little bit over 4 mil at this point. Raised with ace king suited. There was one caller, and then he three bet from the hijack. And just his body language, everything screams strength. Like as soon as he three bet my, when I was like, before he gets back to me, I was trying to figure out like how much I wanted to four bet. Like what was my four bet size going to be? Because we were actually kind of deep around like 50, 55 bigs. Um, by the time it got back to me and I was kind of observing him, I was like, well, okay, now I don't want to four bet anymore. Some of my like radar is going way off like crazy. I actually tanked for probably like 40 seconds pre on this, and usually I don't tank for that long on just like a single three bet. But I decided to flat. The other player comes along. It was actually his name is Aaron. He came along. We went three ways to the flop, and it was Jack 10 like 5 or something on the flop. Check check. He bet only like 30% pot. I was probably going to call up to like 50% pot bet with the gutter. The gutter to Broadway along with the two high cards, even though one of the high cards is most likely dead. He bet 30%. I called. Aaron folded. Now the turn came a 9, and now I can rep basically king queen. Except I thought that he might have king, so I couldn't maybe rep king queen. I'm not sure how good he was with blockers. I tanked for a while because I really was legitimately thinking if I should lead and then try to jam on the river on him. And I decided to check back, but I think my tanking made him like concerned that I actually had king queen. I wasn't sure what to do. So he checked back pretty quickly. And after that, I was like, okay, so now this feels like kings and aces, and you're actually trying to pot control a little bit. Then the river ended up being an 8. So now it's 8, 9, 10 jack, four liner to the straight. And because of his pot control, he still had probably 2x, like a 2-to-1 SPR. In that moment, though, I still felt like I should have just went for a ridiculous jam. I had him covered by a little bit, but I felt like a jam would have gotten him off of whatever he had. He would have gotten him off of aces. But I decided to bet like 80% pot, which is actually a sizable amount. So it was basically 700K. Like I bet 700K like on one bet. So that was like, how deep we were in the tournament, and he just went into absolute blender, just like flustered, just like trying to count down his chips. And as he was like trying to like cut out like how much he had left, I was like, I made a mistake here. Like I think he's going to call this off. It is for half a stack and it sucks, but I think he's going to have to call this off. But if I just ripped it in for some disgusting 2x pot bet, he probably would have folded. He ended up like calling after about a minute, and made a really good call with kings here in a really tough spot. It ended up crippling me down and put him up, among the chip leaders. He obviously carried that all the way to the final table, so good job to him. But that was basically it. Like after that, like I ran really bad, like card wise. Went really card dead, couldn't really get anything going. Ended up eventually shoving ace 10 suited with 10 bigs or 12 bigs, and got called by Jackson, busted.
Yeah.
But still, glad that I was actually able to make a deep run. It felt good to actually run good for a couple hours again for the first time in like a month and a half.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah,
I feel you. No, I feel you. We both had pretty decent days, I'd say. So, speaking though of kind of that big 50, the two things came up. One I want to remember is you talked about him cutting out his chips and counting things. That's going to come up again later in a story I have for later. But first off, last week we talked a fair bit about the Big Four's payout structure, and there was a lot of kind of chatter on LA poker Twitter, if that's a thing, about it. Some people kind of going back and forth with Jeff or on the bike posts about it. So this week, when the payout structure came out, we noticed some differences. And honestly, my table did notice the differences, and I think it was pretty positively received. Now, obviously, you're not going to fix everything and make everybody happy, but if you'll notice, last week, the min payout, I think, was something absurdly small, right? I think last week wasn't the min payout on our $400 entry something like 590 or maybe 620.
Yeah, right.
So this week on the 500 entry, the min payout was 920, quickly jumping to 960. So that's already a massive improvement, right? A very big improvement, almost a 2x for the min cash, which is one of the things I was kind of complained about before. So I tell you what, kudos for trying and for making an adjustment. I think that people did notice, and I think that it matters, right? What we talked about last week does impact people. I talked with another fella. He's a reg. He said he's been going to like the commerce dailies. He comes and shows up for the 1 days. I was playing with him during the 1 day, and he says it's just exactly what we had talked about. Like he plays like a 1 day at commerce. If he gets fifth, he gets like $5,000 or something. And if he comes and he played the Big Four, he plays an entire day. He bags up. He comes back another day. He plays for another 5 or 6 hours, and he wins like 1,200. And he's like, "What? That's just a waste of time. What am I doing?" So, I mean, rewarding those deeper runs is definitely important, right? It's something we really need to pay attention to. The other, and one other thing I just want to make sure everyone knows is Jeff is reading that Twitter. He's not just, a robot reposting the blog posts, and he's reading it. He cares. I think we're hurting his feelings a little bit, to be honest. Because
he's a TD that listens, man. He actually listens, and he does whatever he can. Like obviously his hands are tied with some things. He can't like be overly like aggressive with some risky changes because they got some rake and revenue numbers to hit.
Yeah.
But generally he's a fantastic TD and really listens to us.
No, but he absolutely is listening. He's watching. He's trying. I heard that he actually spent a lot more time trying to get this pay structure to be right and to be better than than maybe he usually does, or like he was trying to take into the factoring that stuff in. And the other thing to notice is first prize here, 121,000. That's actually only like 16% of the prize pool. So that's actually like a little low for an LA tournament, which I think 120,000 for this tournament seems perfect. Like that seems like a good payout for a $500 entry tournament with this 2 days, 2.5 days. I think the value of this tournament, and I think if this was a 20% payout tournament, this would have been 155,000 for first. Like that would have just been kind of absurd. But this is good. I like it. 16%. I love it. I think 120 is more than big enough to be exciting. I didn't really analyze the pay jumps going down, but like hopefully that spread to other places than just the min payouts. But even so, that's kudos for making the change, and I hope people are noticing. Obviously, we can still make some tweaks. And I was talking with some folks, some of the TDs there. Jeff was working out there. Some of the other folks there were trying to work it out too, and it's kind of an interesting puzzle to try and work out a pay table. He said they were sitting there with like the World Series calculator, the World WPT calculator, doing it their own on a spreadsheet. Trying to come up with a formula for this is just like impossible because different tournaments, different buy-ins, different tournament field sizes, all of these things, all of these little variables make it so you can't just make one generic one size fits all formula and just poke in some numbers, right? And they actually did want to. They were curious and interested in talking with Sandusky. We mentioned him last week. And Tom,
he's a really good person to talk to.
Maybe we should have Tom on the show next couple weeks and ask him about payout structures and how to go about doing that, because I was talking with Jeff, talking with Todd, and they're it's kind of a black magic, right? Like there's a formula. Is there a formula? What do you do? Like how do you make it work? Is it scalable? Do you have to have a lot of them, et cetera, et cetera? So
yeah, I think Jeff did a pretty good job of listening to us and listening to the community in general to basically just make it so that we're close to 2x on the bottom. and then just sort of keep a lot of money up top. Some money has to come from somewhere, so it's going to be the middle. So maybe somebody complains about finishing 15th or 14th and maybe not making enough money, but the money's got to come from somewhere. But I think this is probably optimal. You want a bunch of those double baggers to, or sorry, not double baggers. No, you don't want to reward double baggers that much, but you want the min cashers to be able to at least get their double their money back. But you still want some of those pretty big prizes, right, to reward people for getting all the way to the end. So I think it was pretty optimal what he did, and maybe Jeff, I've listened to the show, promote some of the stuff that you're doing a little bit more. I do feel like people just sort of discovered it. Some people at the table were talking about, oh, it looks like, the min payout's a little bit higher. I think for the last one it was lower, but so I don't think people are as dialed in as like the loudest people, on Twitter are.
Yep.
And maybe like people that listen to the show. So it was sort of a discovered thing, but Jeff can probably put out there like, hey, everyone, we listened to you loud and clear, and we're going to update the pay structures to make sure that you're going to get double your money back for min cash. Enjoy the changes, and thank you for supporting the bike, right? So,
Exactly.
I think Jeff is not maybe overly promotional about himself and maybe a little bit too loud, but I think those things will kind of go a long way to make it super obvious to people what's going on, right?
Yeah, and he can always just have Larry do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, but for sure, and we'll
yeah,
try
yeah,
and point it out as well.
yeah. Yeah, Jeff has agreed to come on the show too. Yeah, so we'll get him on soon.
Yeah. Yep. So, like we point out our constructive criticism and feedback, but when we see things that look like they're going the right direction, we'll definitely try and point that out as well, obviously.
Yeah.
So Evan, with the 3,500 seat, if you were to have gotten one of those, it's sort of the same situation as if you win a satellite. I don't think you can cash them in as a rule, but if you talk to them and like I think maybe if you play and then you say, hey, I'm playing right now, I made it through, I have this seat, you got to cash it in, they might be able to do it. So like I would just go and talk to Jeff, talk to Larry before you commit to doing anything like that. I know they can make exceptions, but as a rule, no, it's not. That doesn't just count like that.
Yeah, so it's not a double bag for sure.
Yeah, you have to kind of negotiate what the situation is. Yeah, so kudos on that. Keep trying, keep tweaking that. I liked this one better, but obviously it can always be continually tweaked and whatnot. So that was yeah. So props there. The other thing with the payouts, just want to shout out to Mr. Franklin. He may have finished. Shoot, I forgot. He may have finished, I think, around 80th or so, or is that right? He finished. His finish was kind of like decent, right? But in our hearts, he really finished in probably 11th, maybe 10th. Where was these payouts? In our hearts, we all know he really final tabled because he bagged 4 times. So he bagged 4 times. I think he probably fired. He probably only fired 6 bullets, and he bagged 4 times. So he pulled 7,500 out of the prize pool before he even sat down on day 2. We were really hoping he would bag that 5th time so we could talk about this guy pulling 10K out of the prize pool before he even started. What's up with these double bags? That being said, the double bag bonus for this one was not as large of a multiplier. It wasn't as large, was not as egregious as for the Big Four, as it's not as bad as it is for the Park West Classic coming up. So, but congratulations, Frank. And he was just trying to get a bigger stack. All he was trying to do is get more chips, and it just so happened to bag about 100K or less 3 times. Just happened that way.
Yeah, the only good thing about the Classic is that there's not that many flights, so I feel like there's not going to be that many opportunities to pull like that much out of the prize pool.
Yep.
So I'm kind of hoping that that's a little bit on the lower side.
No, for sure. But I mean, like we said before, the PR damage is kind of done, and the fact that you can't get a real benefit out of it almost makes it really a net negative, just like because you're not going to be able to pull that many entries out of people, so
yeah. And like I'm always rooting for Frank, and I want Frank to get as rich as possible from doing whatever he's doing, but he's a good example of somebody who's very, very good at cashing things. So put this guy in a double bag tournament, and he's going to usually pull a lot of stuff out of the prize pool, and there's other people like Frank, and that's kind of the bad thing. Not a good thing.
Yep. But yep, just pointing it out. Like I said, this time it wasn't as bad because they are tweaking those multipliers down. But you know what? The other side of it is as you tweak those multipliers down, it's kind of the same situation as there aren't a lot of flights to take advantage of it. Now you kind of can get some of that bad feeling for the people that don't like it, and then you start to creep in some bad feeling for the people that are doing it and realize that they're not making the money, So like you kind of start turning it into a good for one side and a bad for the other into a bad for everyone, right?
Yeah. And yeah, again, to Jeff's credit, he has said multiple times he's willing to experiment with no double backs for a couple of tournaments here and there,
Yep.
see how it goes. But I think for everyone that's always screaming at Jeff, I want to just ask you to put yourself in his shoes, under the executive thumb of people at the bike, responsible for making sure that you're hitting your guarantees and hitting your rake numbers, and they kind of expect maybe not specifically just hitting the guarantee for 400 or 500, but getting close to the numbers that we got. And imagine Jeff, pulls away the double backs, and for some reason we end up undershooting that by like 20%. He's the one that's going to get in trouble for that. So just always remember that this guy's got a job to do too as well.
Right, which means if he does do those things, if that's actually something you care about or you say you care about, you got to come out and support.
Yeah, make sure you go out there. So like I've asked him, hey, can you run a 40-40, and then instead of doing 50-50, do another 40-40 with no double back bonus and see what happens, right? If he does that, make sure you come out. Yeah. If he does the Park West Classic without a double back, I'm kind of hoping that we actually pull the numbers that we were getting at the Commerce and getting at Gardens.
Yeah. So the other thing we kind of brought up there is with turnout amounts, right? And it's hard to gauge. One of the things he experimented with on this one was that Monday, day 2. I heard a lot of people not liking it. We see someone in the chat, Mr. Poppin' Bucket, said he didn't play specifically because day 3 would have been a huge problem for him. I didn't like it myself. If I didn't bag up on that Sunday night, I may have not played again. I might have just played Commerce all weekend and come for the one day, honestly. So like this was an experiment to see if he could get it bigger, to see if a extra flight on Sunday would really affect and impact the results. To be totally honest, I feel like it didn't. The numbers throughout were just kind of muted, right? So we were getting over 100 people on the weekday flights for the Big Four. We were getting 60, barely 70 for the weekday flights of this thing, right? I think maybe the Thursday night one, or the Thursday one, was it, that got maybe to 100? But that was it. All the other ones were like 70s.
I thought the 50-50 last time around only got close to like 600, 650.
Yeah, the 50-50 last time got a prize pool that was pretty comparable to the Big Four.
40-40?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and then typically on a weekend for these multi-day tournaments, especially the ones that under a 1K price point, you'd really hope that the big day, the big day 2 or day 1 flight, right, would be over 300 people, looking for like 350 or something. Because that, for instance, the Big Four day 1 flight, that room was completely full between the flights and whatnot, and that was not the case.
Yeah, I swung by on
kind of empty this weekend.
Yeah, I was swung by for a Saturday afternoon one just to do a couple episodes with 10-minute poker with people, and I was surprised at how like 40% of the room was like empty.
Exactly.
Yep. But still, I feel like the prize pool though beat by a lot.
The prize pool was up like 100K, but it's kind of like with the World Series when they added more day 1 flights, right? Of course, the prize pool went up, but the percentage for adding a whole nother day, not amazing, right? So it'll be interesting to see if he thinks that risk reward is worth it, was enough.
Yeah, I feel like that it's always going to be bigger is better with them. And that's kind of the end of it, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
we'll
I don't know if they're probably super close to efficiency number. I think maybe it would be, Jeff, listen to this. We can also just text you this. Is that many people actually just waited till Sunday, like they actually didn't play on Saturday and just waited till Sunday to play the last day, and that's just kind of what they did.
But even so, the Sunday flight wasn't huge. Sunday flight was about the same as the Saturday flight, and the Sunday night flight I think was smaller than the Saturday night flight. So, I just felt like the excitement wasn't there.
I think the point I'm making though is that maybe you wouldn't. Well, I don't know. I don't know what would happen, because I just feel like basically what happened was a bunch of people didn't play on Saturday and they went on Sunday instead. So all it did was really split the 2 days.
Yeah.
And it's very possible that if you had just Saturday and did it on Saturday with day 2 on Sunday, that the room would have been full on Saturday because everyone would have played on Saturday, right?
You might have had 400 entries in the morning flight, right? Yeah.
Right.
And Jeremy was reporting from Commerce. He said a lot of the folks he was playing with over there were telling him, "Oh, they're waiting until Sunday to go play that," and that's their Commerce Saturday, Bike Sunday. So, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
We forget that a lot of people, they don't fire every flight like we do to get in. They fire one flight and they budget for one flight, so they just pick the optimal one, right?
Yeah, they just wait for the last one.
Kind of like I was saying last week, I think, and there are also a lot of people who look at the schedule and they don't play the whole series. They pick one tournament and they say, which one? Oh, the Big Four, of course, right? So,
right.
Yep, things to remember. All right. So yeah, let's talk real quick then, or maybe not quick. Let's talk a little bit about about my run in the one day, right? So I busted the 50-50 pretty much exactly at noon. Just tiniest bit after noon. It was like perfect timing to get into the one day and start up a new table. Was at a really chill table, kind of fun, casual table. Didn't really do much all day long. Was at starting stack. When Reg ended, I was at like 80K from 50K, just chilling. But there were some interesting things that happened. One thing, so remember you talking about that guy counting out all his chips, moving stuff around, really trying to figure out what he has. So we had an interesting rules question come up, and shout out to the dealer. I believe it was Jessie. She was adamant about what the right rule was, and she was, to her credit, she was right. She was right by the book. She knew the TDA rule. Yeah, No Way also didn't play the 50-50 because day 2 is Monday. So this came up, and I posted this on Twitter. We had, let me bring that over. We had at the 800, 1600 level, somebody min raised to 32. Comes around to the small blind, and the small blind has 800 out, a 500 and 3 100s. So the raise was 32, and the small blind pulls 3 100 chips out, leaving the 500 chip, and then tosses a 5K chip in. It's going now to this big blind, and the dealer says, that's a raise. And everyone's like, wait, what are you talking about? It's a raise. So what do you think? Is that a raise or is that a call?
That's a call. He only threw a 5K chip out, right?
Right. He had 800 out. He removed 300, and then he threw a 5K out, leaving 5,500 in.
Oh, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. I think if you just toss the chip out, then it's a call. If you pull the chip back, but you still only toss one chip out, I guess it's still a call. If it feels like it's a call.
Well, that was the argument. So we actually called several. It wasn't a huge deal, but we wanted to get it right. And the dealer was adamant that is a raise. So we called several floors over, and they were actually split. It was kind of split 50-50. We even brought Jeff over, and apparently he didn't get the entire story. He didn't see the miming of the chips coming back. But I asked Savage. It was so interesting. I asked Savage, and he says, and he agrees, this is in the TDA rules. It's example B on Rule 46. It is, if you remove any chips, now it's no longer that single chip rule. Now it's the multi-betting chip rule. So that rule it's the same as if he had thrown in those 2 chips, which means if you can remove one of the chips and still call, that means it's a raise, right? Salzburg does not agree. And like I said, half the people didn't agree. David, the dealer, who's like really on the ball about stuff, the guy who was being floor a little bit, he was adamant that's a call, 1 chip. We were split 50-50. And it is by the rules, by TDA rules, that is a call. When you remove chips but leave some in there, you actually are committing to a call or a raise, apparently. So by taking...
if you remove...
If he has 800 out there and you take some chips away, you've now committed to a call. So in your story, this also happened at my table. So this is something, guys, this one's important. Do not do this. This also happened at my table, and we knew what the intent was, and no one said anything. And then afterwards we said, hey, don't do that later. A guy bet like 80K, had a stack of 5Ks out, and then someone else raised him to like, 230 or something. He was trying to figure out how much he would have left behind. And he couldn't quite, get the right amount out. So what he did was he put out, he pulled back 50 to leave 30 out there, and then made a stack of 200K in the back, and then was like looking at the rest of his chips. And he ended up folding and putting the 80K back out. And, someone told him, hey, you have to make sure you put that 80K back out. And he's like, oh, of course, I want to know how many chips I'm going to have. But you can't do that. If you pull that 50K back, you're committing to a call or a raise. So do not do that. Don't touch the chips you've put out in the middle until you've made your decision, guys. That is technically...
I've actually never seen anybody do that before, like pull chips back to think. Like I've literally never seen it in my entire career in poker. But
don't do it.
It's an important thing to know. Don't do it.
Someone who's clearly new to tournament poker, right? And in the moment, it made sense. It's like, hey, people don't want to do math on the spot. They're just trying to line chips up. They can't line up the right amount. They obviously know they can't line the amount up out in front of them. So they're trying to put it in the back, but they're like, if I do it in the back, now they have to do the math. How much, how many chips do I have to put back here in the side to make it a call? I just want to put 280 back here. I don't know, or 230. I just want to make it right.
This is somewhat related to what I had said before about there not being enough chips on the table. Is that sometimes recreational players or players who are inexperienced are trying to like make the change in their head, and it's like some weird denomination, and then all of a sudden they'll just decide they're going to fold because they don't want to figure out the math, which is ridiculous. But this feels like that's kind of same situation where this guy couldn't figure out how many chips he had left. He's just like, "Fuck it, I'm going to fold the hand,"
Right.
which is just it's just so bad because it's just such a like a dumb computational like tactical simple thing that changes the action that dramatically. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but we all know when it gets late, it's hard. It gets hard to do math
Sure,
over and over
sure.
and over again, arithmetic over and
Yeah,
over and over again really fast, especially if it's
yeah,
not something you do frequently. But so that is the rule. But I had said that what if I were Floor, what I would have done was I would have said, hey, I was there at the table. I know everyone at the table knew he meant to call. I would have been, look, okay, that's a call. Here's a warning. Don't do it again, right? Because clearly it was a call. And
yeah,
to Salzburg point, you gotta love Matt. Matt's always thinking about the scumbag angle. Clearly, he's always on guard, being working in Hollywood and living here, right? So smart on him. He says it's way too easy for people to angle this way, and I kind of agree. I think it's definitely way too easy for people to angle like this, especially people who know the rules so well and can like lawyer them, right? I mean, imagine if it's like an early level, it's like 200, 400 or something, and someone makes it, I don't know, someone makes it 900, and you pull back. Well, like, maybe not 9. Let me make this make sense. Someone makes it 800, and you pull back one chip, and you throw out a 5K, right? I don't know why you do that, but let's say you do. And you're like, oh, I wanted to leave the 300 out so that it was even. And then they make some kind of motion. You can then quickly decide if you want to say, I meant to call, or no, that's a raise to 5K, right? So having a chance to angle to reopen the action or not is pretty vicious. Or even if you just throw it out there and you're just trying to see if the guy after you was going to call that raise or not, and then say, oh, it was a raise. No, it was a call. Way
that's
too
true.
easy to do like this because, and it's kind of a shame because the reason I think it's so easy is because everyone now knows the one chip rule so well. If you do a little variation on this, that's technically
Yeah,
different. It's like, people are just like, what happened with our rules is you just default to the one chip rule, which makes sense. The one chip rule is so simple,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
It's really funny. I'm so overly cautious with betting now. It folded to me in the small blind. I had like a big stack at the time, and the big blind had like 8 bigs or something.
uh-huh.
So I already had some chips out there, and I grabbed two 100K chips. And before I flipped in 200K chips, would have clearly been raised. I'm throwing in two chips. I actually just said raise, and then I threw the chips in. So I'm always
Yeah.
verbalizing, especially out of the small blind,
Uh-huh.
because I just don't. I don't even know if like a dealer's going to screw something up, and I don't want to have the floor get called over. So I just like super careful about just verbalizing these days.
Yep. No, absolutely. That is always the safest thing to do is take your time, verbalize, then go ahead and make your motions. Absolutely. So just an interesting thing, I haven't seen one where people were so split, and you definitely don't usually see the dealers being so confident, but she was extremely confident and very right. She's very right. So I like it. My kind of
Yeah.
dealer. Also, while I was sitting there, so to take a side note from my event, while we were sitting there, we heard, I almost feel like we should start having him on the show. Like it can be our version of what's bothering you today, Chainsaw. We just
Yeah.
we should just let Jeremy call in every week or whenever and just ask him what is bothering him this week, because there was another classic Jeremy Mintz. He heard around the room. I'm sitting there, and the next thing you know, you hear him shouting like, "That you can't do that! Like he has to do this." And I told my as soon as I saw it, I told my table mates, "Well, he's probably right, but he's probably pissing everyone off. But he's probably right."
Yeah, he's usually right about stuff. It's
Yeah.
funny because this happened when I had got moved to the like where you start at the final table usually and all the way in the corner, and I was in the 5 seat facing this way, and I heard this commotion behind me, and I was like kind of tired and tilted, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to turn around for this. I had no idea who it was until Mike had messaged, and I was like, oh, it's Jeremy.
So the situation was this: they were running a satellite for the Classic, and they were running a 3-seat guaranteed satellite, and it was pretty small. And they were down to the final table, and they're playing. And what happened was, this is not. I didn't walk over there. This is what I was told. What happened was two guys were playing a hand, and I don't remember, it was 2 or 3 guys, but what happened is they verbalized that they weren't going to put each other all in, and they were checking, and in fact, one or both of them flipped their hands over before the river even came, and they were checking. And apparently, they both made pretty good hands. 2 of the 3 or the 2 guys made very good hands, like straights and flushes, and they were just checking, saying, "I'm not putting you all in. Don't worry, I'm not going to bet you all in. Check." That's cheating. All right. That is collusion. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. That is collusion. And it happens so often in LA, in tournaments, in any environment where it's a very small pool of people, or even not. Even not. This came up on one of my day one flights. And it's not like a case where people come to the casino together thinking we're going to cheat. It's just like kind of human nature sometimes, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate because it's like on the surface, it's like the good side of human nature, but you're actually being
Yeah.
scummy, you know? Um,
Yeah, like you're not thinking about you're only thinking about that one person, but not the rest of the field. And yeah,
exactly.
sure, you're buddy to that person. And I sometimes like I know most of the time it's gonna be like innocent people who are kind of new and don't know what they're doing, like a Darwin Moon type of situation, right,
Uh
where you check back the nuts at the final table of the fucking main. But
huh.
but sometimes I feel like some of the people that do it, and they tend to be people who kind of like maybe don't speak English well, kind of use their lack of English speaking as maybe a way to actually do a real angle, and actually do like a real like soft play or maybe a little bit of a chip dump. So like yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
No, we have to enforce
Sometimes
this.
it makes me raise an eyebrow with certain people when they do it.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I think, Jeremy got so upset, I think, because after pointing it out vocally, I think that the penalty was a light slap on the wrist. Whereas in a satellite format, collusion like this has to be
Yeah, yeah,
severely
that's crazy.
punished.
Yeah,
Now, I
yeah,
don't blame people. I wouldn't blame the TDs for not banning someone or disqualifying someone on their first incident, but like you have to give a
right,
strong warning and let them know if anything like this looks like it's happening again, you're getting disqualified, right?
right.
Because you just can't. It's just too much money. It's just too much value. And to your point, yet I what I saw in the other one was this guy who had never met his neighbors before was doing things like folding. This guy would jam like three big blinds, and he would like fold ace 10 from the big blind face up, say, "I don't want to knock you out, bro. You're a nice guy." It's like, I mean,
Yeah, so in those instances, obviously, I mean, obviously, it could be a little bit of like a super angle, but that just feels like somebody doesn't know what they're doing when they flip their
exactly,
hands up, right?
exactly. And it's like,
Yeah,
look, I know that you're trying to be nice, and like we all appreciate that, but what everyone fails to see, which is what you pointed out, in this case, we all entered this tournament to play by a set of rules, and by helping one person, like you're actually kicking everyone else in the nuts, right? So by
right.
helping one person, you are actively hurting everyone else. It's not like a victimless crime. It's not like a no harm no foul. You are actively hurting everybody else when you do that, and it's really 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 apparent in a satellite like where Jeremy saw it. So, and it is a problem though here in LA. Like you said, most of the time I agree with you. Most of the time it's people who are just being friendly, being nice, not realizing. I don't think we have to worry about your cat colluding with you. It looks like he wants to take you out or she wants to take you out. But there are situations, where you got to be more worried about than that. There are people who, like some of the longtime grinders being a little too nice to each other. I don't like playing the single table satellites at the bike for this reason because they haven't offered them in a while. But I remember when they did, this one person would be like organizing them, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm calling up my people. They're coming." And then they would have certain people who like to play single table satellites on their phone, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I called someone. They're bringing four people." It's like, why would I ever want to play a single table satellite with somebody who's bringing four other people? And probably three of the four of them, if not all four of them, are playing off the same bankroll. Like, why would I ever do that? Never,
Yeah,
never. That's terrible. That's a bad situation for me. It's a bad situation for them. It's a bad situation for the casino because they're not going to police it. And if I can prove that there was cheating, like now it's bad for, like, this is awful. Why would I do that?
yeah. And I hope this example reconfirms for people why it's important that you don't just sit a whole bunch of people registering late for a tournament all at the same table. Literally for that reason, because they all come together. I'm gonna actually commend the bike and the commerce both for actually being really good since we all started complaining about it. They've been actually kind of annoying with like picking people up from tables right when the tournament starts to kind of fill new tables. But yeah, this is like exactly the reason why it's like super important that we do that.
Yeah. Um, and then what was I'm sorry, I was responding to Julie. I lost my train of thought on that, but the point is, oh yeah, so like these larger mega satellites, like usually are fine, but like this one was pretty small. I think it was like two tables, so you have to be more worried, right? And
Yeah.
So big mega satellites usually not a problem, but the smaller the event, the more you kind of have to make sure or try and keep an eye out and protect yourself. And it's rough. You shouldn't have to do that. And the tournament directors, especially the ones who really know their customers, really need to protect the other players from that, because that is vicious. That could be vicious, right? So.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeremy says he's heard some stories. So, that's what's bothering Jeremy this week. We'll have to, I mean, honestly, he really does every month have something. I swear, Jeremy, if you're watching, you really should do a show with the other Jeremy or come on here, because the sky is falling. You're going to quit poker, or you're going to quit LA poker like every month, I think. But, I mean, you're always right. I always agree with you.
You know what? I think we should just actually film them at the casino, and we'll just bring it in and play it.
And then we'll respond,
like,
right?
We'll just open up in a tab and we'll just play it.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I couldn't get up to film them after this one because I was still playing, until after he left. I do believe Jeremy made it. I think he cashed satellite, so congrats. But I was still going deep in this event the whole time, so wasn't able to get up and do that. All right, so the other little bit of fun that happened was the bubble discussion, the pay the bubble discussion. So when we got down to the pay the bubble, it was 36 get paid. We're down to 37. It was time to ask, hey, should we pay the bubble? First off, they stopped the clock. Hey, you want to pay the bubble? Everyone thumbs up. Let's go. Let's pay the bubble. Sure. Why not? Let's pay the bubble. And then all of a sudden, it became, hey, no, we're going to pay the bubble 400. And I'm looking around like, who wants to pay the bubble 400? And it's like the same couple folks, right? The same people that are always kind of, to me, in my opinion or in my eyes, who seem to always be kind of EV chasing, right? Who think they have the edge and want that advantage and want that money. But like I've said this before, I changed my mind on paying the bubble because
just say no. Just say no.
Yeah,
then.
it's about the amount of time that we lose off the clock. That's why I'm down paying the bubble more often these days. But yeah, I was like, let's pay a bubble. Then all of a sudden, we all say, let's pay the bubble. All of a sudden, it's like now all of a sudden it's pay 400. And I'm like, who the hell wants to do that? And it wasn't, it wasn't like some random person. It was a super reg. It was some, I think it was one of the kind of grumpy looking headphone wearing, hoodie kids. I'm just like, what is going on with you, man? Like 400's like a slap in the face for these. So we want to pay the normal amount. Let's go. So I actually was negotiated very hard and very steadfastly for 600 at least. It should be just the min pay, but whatever. Let's do this much or that much. And they're like, no. I'm like, fine, no bubble. We'll play. So we played 3 hands, and then all of a sudden now it's like 500. Someone brings up, let's do 500, and I'm like, all right. No one else is upset about this, seemingly, but me. So I'm like, whatever, let's go. But what was pointed out was it looked like one of the people who were arguing for the lower payout before. Turns out they kind of are a very short stack. So that was kind of annoying, right? So that's why the bubble negotiations, doing any kind of negotiation is always so tough and always so annoying, because the people who are the most, just like in business, right? The people who give the fewest Fs about making things fair can just always be stubborn and get a little bit more EV for themselves. It's like...
Right. Yeah, I actually was just like thinking about what you're talking about it. My stance on paying the bubble is typically going to be like, I generally don't want to do it, but if everybody wants to do it, fine. I'm not going to be the one that disagrees.
Yeah.
And this is also because I typically like to abuse the bubble. Obviously,
Yep.
there's some things where I can't actually do that, but I like to abuse the bubbles. I actually like bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
But then if I'm short, am I all of a sudden a bubble supporter?
Right.
Am I just being selfish?
Yep.
Right. So that's why I just try to take a super neutral stance to it at all times. But yeah, like you're right. Like people who chase EV are never going to be neutral, right? They're always going to be about whatever is best for them.
Yeah, and eking it out a little bit. You know what? Talking about right here, what I think we should do. So when you enter a tournament, part of the registration process should be a little checkbox, pay the bubble or not, and it's like secret,
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
when you get to the bubble,
right.
they just pull out everybody who's still left in there and they look, and if everybody who's still in there says pay the bubble, you just pay the bubble. And if one of them said no, then you don't pay the bubble and you play. It doesn't matter. No one gets to choose now. You don't get to pick based on your situation right now. You have to pick as soon as you register.
You know what?
I
think I would rather just prefer that card rooms just say no paying the bubble.
Yeah.
I actually prefer that.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Don't even let it happen.
The only thing about, like you said though, the only reason I like paying the bubble, or rather, like I said before, and someone in the chat just said, the only reason I like paying the bubble is to get rid of hand for hand, because you can easily in a daily tournament burn a level and a half doing hand for hand, and that's just absolutely decimates a good player's value. Like any any ability to use skill just lost a whole level of it,
Yeah.
you know. And if you weren't a
Yeah,
big stack, you didn't get to abuse the bubble during that time. So
yeah. I think that was the point I was about to make. Like on the other hand, you could get a lot of EV by there being a bubble. And there's been times where I've actually been a middling stack,
hmm
and the table let me
oh
be
yeah,
like a mid stack
yep,
bully. It
yep,
was crazy. I was just like the big stacks are just getting out of my
yeah,
way, and I was like, okay, I'll just keep doing it.
yep,
So like you can find a way, but it. But then there's some people who aren't capable of doing it, and then when I'm a short stack, I can't do it. So
yep.
you know what? Like, let's just fucking get rid of it. There's
Yeah,
no
it
more paying
happens.
bubbles.
It happens. Yeah. I mean, I would
Yeah,
totally be fine with that too. But if paying bubbles is going to stick around, I kind of want to see that blind vote before we get to the situation, so that those little,
yeah,
so like it should be like chopping the blinds in in a cash game. You always chop or you never chop. You don't look at your hand and see if you have aces and decide if you chop, right?
right,
You
right,
always pay the bubble
exactly,
or you never pay the bubble. You don't get to see how many
right,
chips you have. Who's sitting? Is Derek to my left or is
right,
it this guy who's going to fold every time? What am I doing?
right.
You don't get to do that. You pick, That
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I would have liked to see. Anyways.
Yeah, Queens is saying that basically newer, well, she's talking about newer ladies, but I would say in general, newer players being able to get paid on the bubble if they were the short stack probably feels good for them. Maybe allows them
Yeah.
to come back. You're right that there is a bit of,
Yeah.
like niceness to it.
In that regard, though, you could just pay out more, right? Instead of 10%, we could pay out 12%. Instead of 12%, you pay out 15%, So if that's the experience you're trying to give people. So
Yeah,
also,
but there's always going to be then a bubble
there
for
will
the
always be a
15%.
bubble, but like if you're just trying to
Yeah.
give more people a good experience,
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like if I'm the tournament organizer and I'm like, I like paying bubbles because it gives that guy a good experience. Like, okay, well, why don't you just pay 5% more people? you know?
Good point. Good point. Fair
Yep.
point.
Yep. All right. I was playing that tournament, didn't have much going on for a while, just kind of stuck around average, a little below average for a long time. And then we got down to, what did we do? I just kind of was hanging out, chipping up. We got down to about 36 people or so, and then I really suddenly caught fire. It was awesome. I was at like 350K, 400K in the course of 5 hands. What did I do? I got a big hand. Oh, I hit a combo draw. Then I won a flip, and then I sucked out on a shorter stack, and I went from like 500K to like 2.5 million, bam, just like that. Amazing. And all the while, I'm sitting there next to this woman whose name I cannot remember, but she's cracking up because she's like, I usually don't let myself blind out like this, but there's been an elimination every single hand for the last 5 hands, and she's laddering up and laddering up. It was actually really funny. During this, my little rush here, I actually get kings in the small blind, and she's on the button, and she has less than a blind. The blinds are 60K, and she's blinded all the way down to 25K, just laddering up. She literally got like, I think there's a little pay jump every 2 or so, and there's like 5 people have got knocked out since she had like 80K and just blinded down. So she's got 25K on the button and she jams. I have kings in the small blind, so I just call trying to get some more money in. And I win the side pot. I can't even get more money out of the big blind. But she actually has ace king and cracks me. So during my amazing good luck, I managed to get my kings cracked by ace king and only lose not even a half a big blind. So amazing luck for that period. Really great luck. And then carry that through to the final table. I didn't get to play a lot at the final table, honestly. I kind of just like jabbed and sparred and weaved and stayed in the middle. I played one hand where I doubled back up to a decent stack after bleeding down a bit. But there were some big hands at the table. The very first hand off the rip, as soon as we sat down. So our final table in the vein of crazy knockouts, we went from 10 straight to 8. There was no 9. So
What? Because you busted your table?
Yeah, because that hand where she busted like the next hand or something, and the hand she busted, the short stack at the other table, and the two of them were staring at each other because there was like $100 pay jump for the final table. They were kind of staring, and she has like a blind and a half, and he had like 3 blinds, and they're like looking at each other, and they literally busted on the same hand though.
That's so funny.
And then we go over there, and we're at 8, and then the very first hand of 8, Mike Ung gets ace jack in, I think in like the blind. And Nick got jacks out somewhere in the field, and Nick raised and Mike ripped, and Mike was out the very first hand, so like it was wild action. And this other crazy hand that happened was the poker diva there. She got aces, short stack had ace jack, ripped it on her, and Nick had kings in the blind, and he just smooths is like around $1 million, just moves $1 million. She rips it in. He snap calls, and it's kings, queens, or kings, aces, and ace jack. Ace on the flop, massive pot. And then, but he gets her back for that setup later when we were at four-handed. He rips it in on her when she was, a little bit shorter. He has ace-6 suited, and he cracks her kings there. In fact, it was funny. Both of his cards cracked the kings because the 6 made a straight, a 4-card straight, and he hit the ace also. So,
my gosh,
big hands happening. It was just kind of just avoiding the crossfire, keeping my chips up until I get to the end. My big hands didn't turn into big hands, didn't get wins. I got one win where my ace-king held to get me a double. Everything else that I played was kind of like a small pot or lost, which wasn't great, but it's all good. Making it to second in these dailies is tough with the speed, but man, it was fun. It was fun. The action was fast. Things were flying. Chips were flying. It's good times. So I'll have to wait until next week to get my Phantom Zone trophy, but that's where we ended there. And the important thing is, No Chop gets to second place. Will get me more points than you for now, because I'm going to need to build some points up if I'm going to last through the baby time while you're out there accumulating points, because there's no way I'm going to be able to keep up if I can't get a little bit of a lead. Come on. First place in our tournament, Julie, was 19K.
You should have selfishly just blocked off all the tournaments, while you're out, that they don't count.
I can't do that. That's too much. That's fine. I didn't win last time. I'm not going to win next time. All right. The last thing that we wanted to bring up here is the National Heads Up Poker Championship is back. And usually we don't care about that sort of thing, except this time we have some locals that we would like to cheer for. No, it was 19K. First place was 19K, Julie. So it was a little more. It was like 19 and a half. So in the National Heads Up Poker Championship, if you peruse the brackets, you'll notice a lot of influencers who probably make their home here in LA, but also one Mr. Matt Salzberg. So we've got Salty in the Heads Up Championship. This is a 25K invitational that is streamed on Peacock, right? Later to be streamed on a different platform.
I think it'll be streamed on Poker Go at some point, but yeah.
Okay, so I have not been keeping up with this. I think it started. I think you can go watch it, stream it now on Peacock, but we have them in. And, I kind of want to talk about these brackets. Like, look at these brackets. Look at these names. This is clearly not supposed to be, it's the National Heads Up Poker Championship, but, like, I wouldn't call it the championship.
It was like Jason Kalakakis and just, 3 coins.
This isn't a championship. This is a tournament. This is a invitational. Which is weird because I'm sure they still had to put up their own money, and I can totally get why some of them would put their own money up because this is not I don't know.
The selection is so odd. This is really odd.
I don't know all these folks either.
Just
like Richard Seymour, the football player, right?
Yeah, he plays a lot.
I know he plays poker, but still, like, it's not like he's a well-known tournament name. Richard Seymour versus Matt Berkey. There's an interesting one. And you got
I feel like they tried to mix in, I guess, some amount of like celebrities and athletes with poker players, but it just still feels random. And I don't even feel like some of them are that like
Kevin Pollak
active in the community. Kevin Pollak he's literally just active for the main event, and then whatever his private cash games are, which we never hear about. So it just
and like you said, 3Coin versus Michael Mizrachi. 3Coin being the guy who plays on the cash streams like Hustler Casino Live and the Lodge Live, right? I believe he's the older gentleman with tattoos who just rips it in all the time.
Yeah,
he was the one that played that hand against what's his name, Corey, and ripped it in for like 6x pot with when there's 4 with straight flush out.
That was like the stupidest hand.
It was a very odd, silly hand.
And actually, one of the players that made the final table, I'm not even going to say who it was, the final table of the 50-50, kept, there would be some action pre, maybe he calls a raise, right? And then there's like, I don't know, 20K in the pot, and then he just ships like 400K. Just ships 400K into the pot, and it just sits there, like folds his arms and just like what is this? Like, what are you doing? So I just don't get players like this.
I had to adjust a bit too. At the end of the event last night, it seemed like well over half the tables, like final table, and the standard opening size was like 4x. I'm like, what's going on, guys? What are we doing? I don't
Yeah.
know. I
Yeah,
don't
like
know.
why, like what, like well, we have this amazing structure that we've given you
Yeah.
where you're playing super deep, but then you're just gonna make it like a mega turbo
Yeah.
because you're just gonna like eliminate
Yep.
the benefit of having deep stacks. It's just dumb.
Yep.
Well, not dumb, I guess. I mean, for them, they're probably not like talented and they're just like
Well,
afraid they're gonna get outplayed, so they
that's
just like rip it
it's
in.
just
But
their standard strategy. They're just
yeah,
used to playing
yeah.
dailies, and you got to adjust. But
And just rip.
yep. But so look. I mean, looking at this thing, it's like I mean, I get, like, I understand the Celebrity Poker Showdown or whatever that's called, right? They get nothing but influencers, nothing but people with other industry viewers, right? And then we have championships, but like this one is just weird. Like, can you imagine if you're Eric Seidel and you have to tee off against Andrew Roble in the first round? How does that seem the slightest bit fair at all when you could be playing against, you know, Three Coin or someone else who clearly doesn't play tournaments or maybe even much poker anymore,
Right.
or
Right.
like there's a bunch of people on this list that like I don't know. I don't know. Like, I mean, Nick Wright loves poker, but how often does he play heads up, right? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I guess, I'm going to say that if the purpose of this is to have each individual bring their own network of fans or whatever you want to call them and followers, so that you just get more and more people looking at a big, like, produced and broadcast tournament, I guess.
yeah, but I almost
Um,
feel like they should have made it an actual invitational or paid people with even bigger followings to come and play
yeah,
than
right.
if you're gonna do that, then like, hey, try and
Yeah,
get
like,
Timothy Chalamet
yeah,
to
why
come
is,
and put up his
yeah,
buy-in. He likes poker.
why is Mr. Beast not in here, right?
Yeah,
Stuff like
Mr.
that.
Beast likes poker. I mean, you might have to make it $1 million buy-in to get him to come, but like,
Yeah.
actually, that still wouldn't make it interesting. So maybe you'd have to let him stream it himself. But yeah, like, why not? Why not? Like, there's a lot of people who love poker. Just buy him in if that was the point. You can get bigger. I don't know. I don't
Right.
know. It was just weird. I'm sure it'll still be fun. I just had to have a chuckle when it said championship. I'm like, how can an invitational be a championship when there was no qualifiers? There's no other.
Right.
The qualification is like, we wanted you to show up and you accepted. Okay.
Right.
All right. But anyways, that should be fun. It's going on, streaming on Peacock. Check it out. All right. Whew. All right. Well, that was fun. That's what happens when we spend the whole day. And man, I don't want to spend another Monday at the bike unless it's for a final table. That's for sure. And I did get to
Yeah.
the final table. I mean, like, I want to start at the final table because, man, I'm beat. I don't want to. I don't want to spend a whole day like that. Uh,
Right.
take note, man. I didn't talk to. I couldn't. I think it was like a 1-to-8 ratio of people who were like, "Oh, Monday's good," and then there were 8 who said no. And in fact, the one person I
Yeah.
talked to who said Monday was good didn't play the tournament. He was the guy who said, "I don't want to play 2.5 days. I don't want to play a day like." I don't want to play like for 18 hours and win a buy-in and a half. You know?
Hmm. Yeah, I also think it should be important for Jeff and others who made that decision to note that a bunch of people who played actually did know. They had no idea. They just assumed that it was Sunday because
Yeah,
we actually, for very, very good thing that happened was that we started doing things on Sundays more consistently. So now people flipped it the other way, where they're like, oh, now we can expect to actually finish on the weekend, so I'm going to go play. And then it was a little bit of a rug pull where they're just like, oh shit, this is gonna play on Monday. I actually can't go play.
yeah.
So there's like some percentage of people who played who actually didn't know, and then there's a bunch of people who found out and didn't play. So I still think that the day two on Monday is a big net negative.
There was a person at one of my day one tables who literally in the middle of like level 3 found out it was Monday. I was like, I can't come on Monday, and just basically started blasting off after that. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
somebody told me that happened to them where somebody just like he couldn't understand why they were blasting off like crazy, and then they found out they realized they couldn't actually play.
yeah, yeah. And this happens in the Mega Millions too, because those Mega Millions are just so confusing to people. So many
Yep.
people play the Mega Millions and don't realize there's a day 4. There's a day 5,
Right.
or the mini.
Right.
Even the old quantums. Like, we always got pissed when there's a day 3. It's written in fine print at the
Yeah.
very tiny bottom. It's like,
Yeah, like and I think there's written on the bottom like that, and maybe I don't want to ascribe bad intentions here, but like, you gotta be straightforward with people, even if they may not like the information that you're giving them, even if it might not make them come and play, like don't do a bait and switch.
yep, yep, absolutely. All right. We won't have those problems with the tournament this weekend, though. This is the tournament that I've now lost my excitement for. Unfortunately, when they first announced it, the first time was so excited for it. The second time I was still excited. Now I'm just not as excited. the people aren't as excited, so I'm not as excited, which is really a shame because this has the potential of being one of the best tournaments in the
Is
city.
it just because of the double bag?
People just don't come out. We talked about it before. I
Oh,
have several
yeah.
theories. Part of it's the double bag. I'm less excited because people don't come out for it.
I see. Okay.
So um, it could be a lot of reasons. I still think that a big part of it is when you holistically look at a schedule, people circle certain tournaments, and this one just doesn't stand out, right? The guarantee is not big enough. It's not the Mega Millions. It's not the smallest. It's not the biggest, right? So I just think that it's a scheduling problem, and then the double bag turns away some more people, So I don't know. So that is the Park West
Yeah.
Classic. So let's jump into the roundup and talk about what's coming up this weekend.
Yep.
All right. So we are at the last non-quantum tournament, non-quantum multi-day tournament of the series. So we are here on Tuesday. They just had a limit EO 8 or better tournament today, and a smaller bounty tournament. Well, it's a $200 bounty, but the overall, prize pool guarantees, nothing guaranteed there. So they're running satellites all week here at 7:30 for the Classic. So those are good, especially since I take it back. I thought there were some guarantees to the seats, but only on Monday. There is a guarantee to 3 seats on Thursday, though, so the Thursday night satellite could be a good one to play in. Yeah, that would be a good one. There's a good chance it will overlay. A lot of times these satellites overlay. So that I recommend. Wednesday, they'll be doing another deep stack with a 20K guarantee. And they will be doing Heroes at 1 p.m. for $500. So that seems like the same event they did last week. Then on Wednesday at 4 p.m., they're doing Super Bounty. Then on Thursday, the Park West Classic starts. The Park West Classic will have 3 starting days with 2 flights each on Friday and Saturday. So that will be 5 total starting flights to feed into the Park West Classic. The Park West Classic has a big double bag bonus, as we pointed out. I believe it's $8,000 for your second bag, which is insane. It is the exact, basically correct satellite value if you play and you get back in. So unfortunately, it is a very good value, especially if you have a slightly below average chip stack on your first bag on Thursday. So we pointed out the only good thing for us or for the overall community is it's hard to get more than one extra bag because you have to bag on Thursday to have more than one shot, really, of doing it, unless you're going to double queue like Frank sometimes does. I've seen him do it, and he bags both days. He'll bag both times. He can bag. I've seen him. He's bagged twice and cashed a third event in the same day. It's wild. So that is happening. Thursday's flight is at noon, then Mega Satellite at 12, and then they'll be doing a limit triple draw at 1 p.m. as well. So that's going to be a busy day. Friday has flights at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. with satellites at two flights on Friday and Saturday.
Oh, actually, no. So there are a lot of flights. Well, not a lot, but there's still
but it's
5.
It's hard to bag the 11 a.m. and register the 4 and still do well. Like I said, it's kind of barely possible, but it's difficult. It's not easy.
Yeah.
So Friday they'll be running satellites all day as well, 12 o'clock and 8:30, and then Saturday same thing. They'll be doing a 11 and 4 o'clock flights. They'll be doing a satellite at 11 a.m. and then they'll be doing a satellite at 8:30. But this one's going to be for the Mini Mega, I believe, which will start the following week. And then Sunday is the day 2 of the Park West Classic. So this is a banner event. If you win, you get your banner up next to Sohail and Mark. 2 banners, Mark. This was his second banner. So you'll get your banner up next to them. And so $1,100 buy-in. Should be good. The 500K guarantee here. Now, I believe that the first time this ran last year, I think it was competing with the Arizona State Championship. I don't think that's the case this year. I think that's next week, so it doesn't have to worry about that. But, we'll see what happens. The turnout for this has been muted. I think last year I don't even know if it got to 600K in the prize pool last year, did it? Or not last year, but last October maybe.
I feel like they just squeaked past, didn't they?
Yeah, I thought it was 540 maybe, and then they had double bag bonuses that brought us down to barely 500. Right.
Yeah, and I think they had to run some last minute Saturdays too to try to get people in there. It was just in single tables.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe some flip and goes even. The flip and goes are fun, but that's where it's at. So I'm
Yeah, the flip and
I'm
goes are probably the most fun thing that happens, where everybody just gathers around all with their cameras and there's people like yelling and screaming. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. We need more experiences like that in poker, honestly. Like
Yeah,
the all in or
yeah,
fold tournament that Commerce ran that one time was so much fun. You just
yeah.
gotta put it at the right price point, let people spectate. You just need even the tag team stuff, you just need to let people spectate and we'll have so much fun. If you just let us talk trash a little bit,
Yeah.
you know, like
I still don't believe that many people get bothered by people behind the ropes, and just put the ropes a little bit further back enough. Like, yeah, I do know like some Mizregs are just like, I don't like people behind me, but it's like whatever, man, just
yeah.
deal with it. We need spectators.
Yep, yep. I mean, it just makes it more fun if you can cheer. Like the final tables,
Yeah,
people are watching like it's golf, but like I feel like Happy Gilmore sitting there. It's like you don't have to be that quiet. I mean, you'd be a little
yeah,
quiet and definitely don't talk about our hands, but like you can
yeah.
cheer a little bit if
You,
you're rooting
you,
for someone, you can root.
Yeah, even at the bike when we have all that stuff going on in the corner, but you like basically put the ropes like a table over so you can't even get near. And you see some people walking over and they're curious and they sort of glance and they can't see anything, so they just leave. And I still disagree about that stuff. I do feel like we need to make it a little bit more spectator friendly. Put that
Yeah,
shit like I keep saying Calvin did it perfectly. He put that final table right where the payouts are, right where the reg is, right, and put a big backstop there, right in the middle where everybody can stand around. He's sitting there announcing it. So much energy in the room. We bury the bike one all the way in the corner where
yeah. I
people
was
can't
gonna
get
say
to it.
that
And I know that Jeff and Larry both are just like, we have to do it because people don't like people standing behind them. We have to protect the players. I'm like, yeah, I don't, just yeah,
yeah, I'm with you. I disagree. I agree that you have to protect the players, but I think you only have to protect them from actual cheating, right? Like I
right,
think you
right,
don't need to protect them you don't have to protect their fragile egos and their comfort. You have to protect them from being cheated.
yeah.
So it's if you can make it better and more fun for everyone without jeopardizing the integrity of the game, that's what you
Yeah.
should do. Like
There was a super popular reg at one of the Gardens final tables I was at, and you had just had that freaking absolutely stacked rail right behind me, and I was having fun with it. Like I didn't care. Like I know how to protect my cards so people can't see
yeah,
what I'm looking at. Who cares? Like I was like, bring more people over here.
yeah.
I'll just get up and I'll start high fiving them. I don't care.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think that'd be fun. I definitely
Yeah,
think that would help a lot, and I really like that was one of the super fun things about when that first circuit came around and we had the feature table with bleachers. You could go up and watch like it's an actual event. That was fun too. So
yeah,
yeah, need more of that. We need more feature tables. We need more spectators. We need a way to let everyone else. We need a way to let the rail have some fun.
all right.
All right. So that's what's happening at the bike this week. So I'm going to go, I'll fire a few bullets. And look, if you can't play at the bike, we recommend you play some saddies and get in there, especially the early ones with seats guaranteed. But if you can't, go over to, I'm telling you, go over to Commerce. Their dailies are going to be popping. That Saturday daily, I guarantee you it's going to be triple its prize pool again. That Saturday daily is usually 30K guarantee. It's going to have at least 80K in that prize pool for sure, just like it was before, because that 1K price point's pretty high. And when we come over here to Hollywood Park, they have no tournaments this weekend because there's football Saturday and Sunday over there. So do not go to Hollywood Park to play poker tournaments. You might want to go early and get a seat for the cash games. I don't know how that works with the football games, but no tournaments. So there won't be any tournaments until Sunday night at what time? 7:30. They're gonna run a bounty. It looks like it's a 5K Sunday Night Lights, whatever that is. So Commerce
But
is
I
gonna
think
be
even with
hopping.
Yeah, even with all these things going on, I still think go play the classic. It still is 500K. The structure is amazing.
Yep.
As I said to people before, if you can't afford to play it, play a Saturday to get into it because you're also going to learn a lot. Because you're going to get a lot of good players in there playing. You're not going to, you're just not necessarily going to get run over. Just like learn from the experience, and you never know what's going to happen. You can always get a shot. I'm actually going to make a little bit of bold prediction because we have had an amazing turnout for the Legends. Amazing. And that typically doesn't happen because everyone's so bust out from the World Series. But for whatever reason, ton of people coming out right now. So maybe the Classic's going to do pretty well. Who knows?
Hey, I would love that. We'll see. If we can get a really big turnout on Thursday, I'll start to get really excited. But yep, no,
Yeah.
fantastic structure, and I know it says that you get 40K in tournament trips, but the structure which seems like less than the 50-50, but trust us, the structure is fantastic. You're gonna want to play this one. It's better. It is better. It's worth it. All right. So, yep, as I point out, Hollywood Park football this weekend. Lucky Lady, no special events, just their regular tournaments as normal going on over there. And same thing at the Gardens. They're just doing their regular weekly events, which are still happening, are still decent. They're still beating their guarantees by a decent amount. Not quite as large as back when Kevin was there. A lot of those folks are coming to Commerce now. In fact, a lot of his staff came to Commerce with him as well. So it's just definitely the place to be. I highly recommend if you're not playing over at the bike for some reason and it's out of your price range and you don't want to play sadly, Commerce definitely a place to go. So that's what we got going on. All right. That is about all we've got for you. And it looks like our chat agrees. Hey, get some more spectating going on. Make it fun for the fans,
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? I would love to see even Kevin and whoever covers our tournament to do more like hands, like even don't wait to the end of the final table to do it. Just do some hands, do some interesting things like, oh, table 6 is stacked with these players and here's a hand that went down, right? Do a little bit more with the updates.
With the coverage,
just,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, within just like doing a chip update for the top 15 players or something once every like couple hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And Julie's asking if she should try to play the Park West Classic or the Mega Mini, the Mini Mega Million. I think if you can only play in the weekend, definitely play the Classic. That's what I think. But if you're free like all week and you just want like to be able to fire small burn amounts, like put in a little bit and play a lot of poker, I might play the mini day ones, because then if you do spike a double bag, you get to that like let you go infinite on the day ones, keep playing the day ones. But if you can only play in the weekend, definitely the Park West Classic in my mind. Now the mini mega is gonna have a bigger prize pool, but it's also more compact. The Classic should be more compact. The mini mega is gonna stretch out over probably 3.5-4 days.
Yeah, I'd agree with the same thing. I would always choose that a 1K-ish type of event over something like that, even though I'll play both. But
yeah.
If I had to pick one, with the 1K for sure.
Yep. All right. Well, that's all we got for you this week, guys. It was fun. I got to play a lot of poker this weekend. Got to play with a lot of you. Haven't seen a bunch of you in a while. Hanging out with buddies Kiefer Fid, playing with Caleb, playing with all the folks we mentioned who cashed that thing, and Derek got to sit with the rest of you. So it's been fun. Super great seeing everyone out there. I'm soaking it in. I'm gonna be disappearing from the tables for a month, so as you all know, but hopefully still be able to be here on the mic. Derek will just have to fill me in on what has been going on out there with all you guys. All right, that's all we got for you. Have fun, be safe, and we'll see you at the tables.
See you at the tables, everyone.